Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to our 31st Above and Beyond Hangout. My name is João Moreira Pires, and I'm your host here in Lisbon. In Porto, we have Marilia running the show. Marilia, how's everything?
Everything is great, João. So we have a full house again. You cannot see it again, but the house is full. So we are ready to roll. João, I think you have some updates to give about the ecosystem, right?
Yep, a few things on my side. So before we move into food tech for a sustainable future, let me bring you up to date on the Business Abroad program that finished last month with a final stop in Startup Summit in Brazil on the beautiful island of Florianópolis. We were joined by 11 Portuguese startups, and the grand total of this year was 120 Portuguese participants supported by Startup Portugal in international tech events, with 50 of them securing exhibition slots. If you want to join next year's program, keep your eyes peeled on our communications. Also, it's with great pleasure that I announce that the registration for Road to Web Summit is still open. Kinda going fast, so don't lose your time here. We have a little less than half of the seats still available. And in this program, you get an amazing 50% discount on tickets to the conference, a bootcamp to prepare your startup, and much, much more. Startups are being accepted on a first-come, first-served basis and will represent Portugal at the Web Summit this year. The startups that have already enrolled, they are reaping the benefits, so don't lose more time. Over to you, Marilia. What do you have to share with us?
Well, João, so this year, SIM Conference was a great success with over 2,000 attendees and more than 400 startups showcasing. So we are excited to confirm that in partnership with Câmara Municipal do Porto, the SIM Conference will return to Porto for the next 3 years. So please mark your calendars for next year, May 8th and 9th at Alfândega do Porto, and make sure to pre-register on the SimConf webpage. Also, before we jump into our pitch session, I would like to thank all panelists that will be joining our discussion about food tech for sustainable future. They are in Lisbon, Marta Miraldes, Program Director From Start to Table and Partner Program Lead at Startup Lisboa. Also, Pedro Cabral, Customer Operations Manager at Finex Portugal. I'm sorry, just to interrupt, I think our mic is not, it's good, our mic, I can hear some
we can hear you.
Noise. Can you hear me? Okay,
yes.
Great. So continuing, in Porto, we'll be joined by André Soares Campos, Head of Strategy and Transformation at Sograp, and Ivanoel Rodrigues, Co-founder and CEO of Orti. So now, finally, we go into our pitch session featuring 4 promising startups, and our first warm-up pitch will be about Dig In. So please welcome to the stage Luís Azevedo, Head of Restaurant Consulting.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the introduction. While we are getting the deck, okay, it's on the screen. So in 2014, I embraced the challenge of moving down to Lisbon to be a data collector for Zomato at the time, and I was far to guess that the adventure was going to be as long as it is, and we were always very far from solving this data crisis problem that we face in the F&B sector. Basically, there's still, and after we walked miles to collect data from restaurants, there is still a very fragmented data landscape in the sector. There is poor data accessibility, which is limiting our market insights. We had this problem, and while we were solving this problem, we started feeling that we could solve it for the whole F&B operators. and ease the dance between this triangle: consumers, restaurants, and suppliers. So what we came as an opportunity in front of us was a sector, a $1 trillion sector, that was craving for the same growth that we were watching in other sectors by using data-driven decisions. On the other side, as Dig In, we were a food tech company with proven track record, and we had scalable technology for all demands. So the solution: with our digital solutions, we capture own data, we add it to source data and to strategic partners' data, and we club all this information to produce smart market insights. This path, we believe that it will make us Europe's leading F&B data player in some time. How it works: besides the data we have on our digital solutions, we scrape and source information from other platforms. Then we store, we analyze, we clean up, we sync this data, and then we export and generate industry data reports for FMCG brands. So far, our financials are quite positive and promising. In 2024 itself, we are achieving the profitability, despite the fact that we are going abroad and that we will launch our services in Spain and Germany. What we see ahead is a future where the more expansion we get, the higher profitability we will achieve too. But not only the financials are proving our business and our service. We have several clients working with us. Some are local, some are global. We have restaurants, we have chains, we have suppliers and brands. But we also have competitors in the space, so we need to look around and check what they are doing. So basically, we divide them in three groups. We have the restaurant aggregators, which are mostly focused on GMV driven data and business models. We have consulting companies that usually have high demand of budgets and a longer delivery time of these data reports. And we have other food tech data solutions that mostly work on a high level geography and don't have such a granular information as the one we can collect. Just going faster, highlights of our journey. We started as a Zomato subsidiary. We did an MBO for this independent path. We changed our approach to a data focus, and we rebranded as Dig In. The team, myself as a co-founder and now based in Porto again, but also 3 market experts on management, strategy, and technology, plus 17 foodies fed by this hungry vision. The call to action: closing the funding rounds that we already have mostly done to accelerate our growth and expand our reach. Let's talk soon, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Luis. Now here in Lisbon for our second pitch of the day, please welcome Duarte Frois, co-founder of Funk.
Hey everyone, thanks for receiving me. Can you hear me? Right? Yeah, perfect. I'm Duarte, a co-founder of Funk, which I founded with the second biggest Portuguese celebrity, Sara Sampaio. And how can I change this? Not sure. Is it here or no? Wait, perfect. Thank you. And wait, okay, now we're here. Okay, and so basically we noticed that, especially in the US, a lot of celebrity brands were having a lot of success because basically you can leverage the audience and the fame of a celebrity, you know, to get to their basically audience. And then a lot of examples like George Clooney Casamigos brand or Ryan Reynolds aviation gin that was sold by 600 million to Diageo kind of gave us the road path to success, like when you kind of have a celebrity on board, but that actually an investor and that actually is an executor and not just the face of a brand. It really resonates with their audience, and basically you don't need to spend millions of euros or dollars in advertising, to get that kind of awareness. And so we noticed this, and together with the issue that we find that in the alcohol category, we couldn't find, and especially Sarah because of her job, any drink that was basically low in calories or no sugar. So you have beer, cider, or the spirits, which are very strong in alcohol. And so basically we decided to create a solution for this kind of consumers that are growing even more and more in the Gen Z and millennial generations to create a brand of alcoholic drinks with low calories and no sugar. So we have hard seltzer portfolio and tequila seltzer portfolio. Hard seltzers are basically, sparkling water with alcohol. Tequila seltzer are basically sparkling water with tequila, basically. And so we fit in the fastest growing category in the alcohol, actually the only category in the alcohol level that grows. And so it's a category that is expected by 2030 to be almost 100 billion worldwide. And in the US, it represents already 12% of total sales in alcohol. So this, like 10 years ago, it represented like 1%. So the growth has been amazing. And so the great value here is that in Europe, the market is still in very early stages, especially in south of Europe, in the UK and the north of Europe, it's already grown. But Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, the markets where we try to operate, it's very early stages. And so I think we have a very big first mover advantage here. And so we already have a big, strong penetration in Portugal. We are in the most retailers, so Continente, Auchan, Corte Inglés, Pingo Doce. We have a distribution agreement in Portugal with Sogrape. We have a distribution agreement in Greece with Atlanta. And now we want to grow in Spain and Italy, where we have signed distribution agreement to start in 2025 and to explain to people that beer belly doesn't work anymore. You should drink funk. And so as a call to action, next time you have an event or something, remember to order some funk. And if you know great people that want to work in Spain or Italy, to try to grow funk on those countries, let me know. And thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Duarte. So now please welcome Guilherme Pereira, co-founder and PTO of Portugal Bugs.
So, hello everyone, good afternoon. So we are Portugal Bugs, and before we speak with bugs, let's think why we are trying to solve with the insects. So as you might know, the agriculture, how we do it, is now changing, and climate change is making a lot of pressure. You can see for the coffee, that's the next one. First one was cocoa, and there will be coming many more challenges because of the climate change. Will change completely the way we look to agriculture. And also, if we understand now that the hunger problem that we have nowadays, we have almost 800 million people that suffer from hunger all over the world, we can try to look up that when we reach 2050 and reach 10 billion people, we will have a very big problem in our hands, which is feeding everyone, not only the ones that don't have access to food, but everyone, and everything is going to get very expensive or even impossible of creating. So that's why it comes an option of using insects as a solution to create protein. First, of course, nutrients, because if it doesn't have nutrients, it's not interesting to anybody. So it's a very high source of protein. It's what normally everybody knows about the insects. But it's not only about that. It has fiber, very healthy fatty acids. It has also a lot of micronutrients that can make us even better. There's people that have problems with iron that solved it with crickets, which is also very interesting. So in terms of nutrition, it's like a superfood that we nowadays don't know. But they're also very efficient. They can pick up food waste from, for example, the fruits that we discard on the supermarkets or the industry itself, and use it to create protein very fast with very small resources. And also they can be produced locally. We don't have cattle farming in the cities. We don't have these type of things close to us. But insects can be done here. So we can use local farming of the insects to create a very more and close by system. But you know, eating all this is not very simple. When we started, the industry thought investing in only breeding insects is going to be the key solution, but it's not easy to make the Western culture to accept insects. We know nobody actually knows how to eat it. So that's why with Sarah, we created a company that has a brand, Portugal Bugs, that we understood that the insects are an ingredient to be used in the food industry. And we started, well, we created basically a company that picks the insect, makes several products, and sell them in the major retailers here in Portugal. What type of products, you may ask? So, oh, sorry, too fast. So we go from protein bars, protein pasta, crackers, burgers, and so on. So we are creating an all range of products that we can use the insects. We want to be an all-in-one stop in this industry for somebody that is looking for a sustainable option with insects. But even we are here in the segment, we started in 2016. We came from university, and we have to speed up. We will have to wait to sell our products in the market because it was not allowed in a moment. So we created a startup that was almost ruined in the beginning because we could not sell our products. But well, in 2021, we were able to sell our products in the supermarkets. And I would say that, and in 2024, the biggest thing that happens to us today was having the royal king of Netherlands eating our products. We have a very ambitious goal. We want to be the top benchmark for this area in Europe and USA. Where we're actually growing in Europe and looking for the US. And you also want to grow very quickly. But you know, our company has a problem from the beginning that we understood, and we want this day to announce to everybody, or just let you know a little bit, because our name is not the best for internationalization. You may think Portugal Bugs is not the best name for it. So, well, we were working quite for a while now, and we were all ready to, we tried to use this event just to let you know that we changed, we are going to change. We are going to be Coriol, which is also conscious origins for all, so it's a mix of that. And we are also reshaping all of our packaging to make everything more clear, every more visual, so having a very different impact. So next time you go to the supermarket and see a product over there, just drop us your feedback on tasting our new products and our brand. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Guilherme. Now for today's final pitch, please welcome João Maria Xavier, CEO of Animob.
Is it? Yeah, thanks. So just let me try. Okay. So my name is João Xavier, and for the last 3 years, we've been developing an idea called Animob, that stands for Animal Mobility, that we aim to integrate the right animal on the right land at the right time, creating new sources of income for livestock farmers and landowners. Managing land and livestock is not a new problem for anyone, but the world has changed, and with the war in Ukraine brought new challenges. One of them being the booming of solar parks all over the world and in Europe to fight a bit the dependence of energy to Russia. So with the booming of livestock solar parks, now landowners have to ask who, when, and how will my land be managed. And when the answer to these questions is mechanical mowing or herbicides, this translates into loss of investment, biodiversity, or even energy efficiency. Having both founders a background in agriculture, we know that livestock farmers often face a shortage of feed for their animals, and now even worse with Ukraine being one of the biggest exporters on cereal. So vegetation will always grow, and there are two options. Will it be a problem for the landowner or part of the solution? That's where Animob gets in. Animob helps livestock farmers and landowners making more money. How? With the dating app, a matchmaking platform that connects both online, integrated with a regenerative land management service through Animal Mobility. So what do? We map and partner with livestock farmers, and we let landowners to register on our platform that will trigger the matchmaking process. To implement the match, we will use grazing as a tool for vegetation management and the app to track operations. Our TAM, our total available market, is huge, as you can see. But our launch market, it's nearly 3 million euros. That is the equivalent of the solar market in Portugal as of today. And our competitors in Europe are still using herbicides and mechanical mowing to achieve the same goal. So this gives us an opportunity to dominate a rapidly growing market. As any other startup, we have no money. So without money, we built a landing page with the pre-register forms, and we already count with users, around 70 users, almost 50 landowners, and around 20 livestock farmers. So this shows the strong latent demand that, for the value that we are creating. For this year, we have 2 pilot projects upcoming, one with Galp in a solar park, another with Ren in some forest tracks, where the goal is to reduce costs, the footprint, and the risk of vegetation management operations. We spend a lot of time with livestock farmers, and we know that they are not very tech savvy. So we created a model where they can, with no commitment, freely register and create their herds. And once they see the value that we are creating for them, they will upgrade their accounts by themselves to implement the match. So our MVP right now, it's a bit of a web app ecosystem glued together with some APIs to create this user-friendly app. Our team includes myself, Manel as a COO, and Ricardo as CFO, and we count with experienced mentors, both domestic and international, and we are in some startup incubators that helped us a lot developing the project. So this is our pitch, Animob, adding economic value through regenerative management. Thank you.
Thank you, João. And now we're moving into our panel discussion of the day, FoodTech for a Sustainable Future. Please welcome with a warm applause Marta Miralles and Pedro Cabral here in Lisbon. Marilia, who's over there in Porto?
Thank you, João. So without further ado, please welcome on stage André Soares Campos and Ivanuel Rodrigues.
It works. Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Today we will be having a discussion about a very important topic, which is food. And we will be using that doing that using technology. So that's a good intersection already. I would like to start by saying that right now we have in the world around 7.1 billion smartphones, so technology. And we can book space flights, we can go to the bottom of the sea, but right now the food to fuel these minds and bodies of technologicals, we still take a lot of land to produce, almost 50% of the arable land. We take 70% of the fresh water, and it is responsible for a quarter of the greenhouse gases. And we have to change that. Maybe technology is the savior for that. Maybe it is just augmenting what already happens. Just checking if in Lisbon you can hear us. Can you hear us?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Yes, nice. So without further ado, I have several questions for our panels, for our guests. And all our guests have been working within the sector in the past few years. And first, and to test our connection, my question is to Marta. Hi, Marta. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I am fine, thank you. So Marta is leading the Start to Table, and just for you, for those who do not know, Start to Table program has started in 2018. That's already quite some time, and has already 6 editions and more than 100 startups from 30 countries. Those are some interesting numbers. And so, Marta, from your experience, what is the biggest challenge in adoption and scalability of food tech solutions, namely the ones targeted at sustainability in a global scale? I know I'm starting with hard questions. Sorry.
Thank you, Manuel, and welcome for the other colleagues of panel. My name is Marta. I'm coordinating the From Start to Table, like Ivanuel says. This is acceleration program for Unicorn Factory Lisboa that starts in 2018. So we had a lot of changes and developers or in the program. We have the pleasure to have you to head Evanuel in one of the editions. No, you don't participate in this one. You participate in Clean Future. Sorry. It's a lot of people in a lot of programs, but we have the pleasure to have André like a mentor in the program. Thank you, André, for all the support of the startups. To answer your question, it's a bit, so we have two kind of projects from Start to Table. We have tech solutions and new products of new products of food and beverage sustainably. And the challengings is a little bit different because it's a different innovation and a different background. So in technology, I think the scalability it's more easier. Of course, you can launch a project here and can apply for every world. But I think the main issue that some of the founders forget on the tech side is that not all the countries it's the same. We have the Digin that has that international experience, and the consumer experience, the regulation, and so on. It's different, and so you need to think a little bit about these different about the consumers in different countries. So it's not just to launch a software as a service or until a hardware or something. We have all all very different situations. I give you an example in Portugal. So in From Start to Table we have about 75% of the founders that participate in the program, and normally it's in average 25% Portuguese and the rest international one. And they are always very interesting to see the regulation that we have for invoice and the market, how the market are organized. And I will not talking about more about that, but who knows the softwares that the restaurants use for the invoice and so on. So the players that we have in the market, and they are always very surprised how we are organized. So Portugal, it's not different from other countries, and in the tech side, we need to see that it's not just to be or to have a software that will be the same solution for every countries. For the non-tech projects, and we work on that also in the program, and we have very good examples in the last editions. I think the regulation, of course, is also a issue, but I think that it is one of the problems for the scalability is the logistics. So in food area, it's very difficult. So you can be innovative. The market can be very open for this innovation, but the logistics parts in food, it's very, very difficult. Sorry, I talk a lot. Don't give me questions and.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. So next question is for André. André, for those who do not know, works with Sograp. And Sograp actually has an arm, which is Sograp Ventures, and it does invest in early stage food startups. And so last year, actually, it was launched, the fund, 5 million euro fund targeted at ESG impactful startups. And my first question to you, on the other side of the table, actually, is what do investors should look to? What key factors should they look to when they are investing in food and sustainable business and startups?
Hi, Manuel. Hi, everyone in Lisbon and here. Thank you for the invitation. It's really a pleasure to talk about this topic. As you mentioned, we Sograp have a venture capital fund, and we see sustainability almost like a by default need for the startups we invest. So they can have higher degree or less for a sustainable solution, but a known sustainable solution is out of option for us, and so it's critical, and that goes to your question. So we don't look to these startups in a different way that we would look to let's say it's normal startups, that the product is not focused in sustainability. What we see is that the product is related with sustainability. It's a plus, and it's something we value, because we have seen a trend in our industry, in the wine sector, in the agriculture sector, but I believe in most of the industries, if not all, that sustainable, it is almost like quality 40 or 50 years ago, that there was the need of having some consciousness about the need for quality. Now quality is part of the process. You do quality tests, and sustainability, we don't develop a wine, we don't develop or we don't internalize a new technology in our value chain or a process that we don't think about the CO2 emissions, the impact it will have in the society around, when we are talking, for example, in regions like Douro or Alentejo, in the water management, in the waste management. So it's sustainability is now part, and so we see it the same way in startups. So the critical factors are almost the same. So the quality of the team of founders, the scalability, the uniqueness of the solution, and the way it is protected via IP or something similar, not to be copied. One thing that is important when we are talking about sustainability startups is trying to check if there is no greenwashing over there. So that is something that we try to look for, is that it is really a sustainable solution, and that the founders and the startup live up to that value. Because what we are seeing is, I think, less and less. But in the last 10 years, greenwashing is all over, and the sustainability was being used in a very unprofessional way.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks. Thankfully, now we have some laws for that. Thank you. Now to Pedro, back to Lisbon. Hi, Pedro. Pedro is part of Phoenix. Did I pronounce it correctly? I think
yes,
Phoenix.
You did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And for those who do not know, I bring you some numbers. And just in this first half of 2024, Phoenix delivered more than 4 million meals to more than 3,000 social institutions. So almost 800,000 families. Those are big numbers. So 8% of the total Portuguese population, just to put it simply. That is a lot of numbers, so congratulations. So
thank you.
One question that comes with this is, with 1/3 of the world's food going to waste, how do you think that technology can help in reducing the food waste in every step of the food chain?
Those were a lot of numbers. But it can definitely play a part. It has shown to play a part, first of all. I think we are changing the way that we look at food waste. First of all, because surplus is not the same thing as waste. We need to overproduce. Supermarkets need to overbuy for several reasons. One of the things is the majority of food that is not sold does not necessarily go to the trash. It can be reused for a byproduct. It can be donated to charity for those who cannot afford that food. And we need to accommodate for all the food that we might have shortage of. So we can make several byproducts with this. In terms of technology, I believe that the biggest possibilities, the biggest potential is in terms of engineering, of machinery, that we can create byproducts or transform these products into other products. In terms of data, I think there's where the big problems are. We work a lot with retailers, we work a lot with producers, we work a lot with distributors. A lot of the data is lost in the middle of this process. Funny enough, the retailers are the ones that have it more put together, also because of resources and because they have to keep track. But data is definitely the biggest, by far the biggest potential that we have when dealing with food waste. I believe that in terms of monitoring and in terms of pre-shrinkage, what we call in Portuguese prevenção de quebra, prevention of loss. There's the biggest potential of development in terms of tech for food waste. But so we work in the end of the food chain, the very, very end. Companies like that do amazing work regarding food waste, like Too Good To Go, do things a bit differently than what we do. We also offer this B2C possibility of buying discounted products, but Phoenix, in the end of the day, channels what people have of surplus to those who do not have. So we make donations to charity, we manage the donations to charity. When we do this, it's highly important time, amount, commitment, and several other things. But mainly knowing how much will we be able to donate and how much our charity is going to be able to absorb. And this is data that is lost. We can obviously match it, and until we refine the whole process, I think there's a big way to go there. So we are the end of the food chain, the supply chain. And there's definitely a lot of room for improvement in terms of tech. Phoenix deals with that every day. We've been doing amazing work and a lot of tech developments in this sense, but there's still a lot to be done. And I think every company that deals with food waste knows about this. So yes, I think maybe the biggest challenge is after it has been either discounted and sold, discounted, not sold, and donated, or somewhere between these steps, what can we do with the surplus food that exists and that we can transform to be able to track the amounts and what we can actually do to transform that food. I think that's where it stands.
Got it. So, thank you. I'm going to keep the data subject in Lisbon and go back to you, Marta. Data and AI, blockchain, and I could be throwing some other buzzwords. Yeah, all the big words. But you've been dealing with startups in all the programs directly. And in the last months, AI and data actually skyrocketed as technologies that can be leveraged to multiple uses. What kind of other technologies do you see being integrated and contributing to a more sustainable supply chain in the end?
Even well, I'm not a tech person, okay? I'm from management, so please don't do like this kind of questions. Is a little bit more difficult for me. So I think the AI and big data already have made a lot of difference and have a lot to do, like my colleague says, because I think the guys from the market don't have enough knowledge to know the power of the application of AI and data in the business. Its value, like you said, and it needs to improve the use of these technologies from the big retailers for a small business. And I think programs like From Start to Table and all the founders need to see what is the different, and could be a simple value proposition, but it could be the value proposition of the use of these technologies for our economy, for our business, because the value is huge. You can improve process, you can reduce the waste, the food waste, you can, I don't know, give you some information about the future and how the business will happen, so reduce the food waste, but also the costs and everything. So I think it's big words that sometimes the people are, and and I'm talking about the guys from restaurants, for the supermarkets and so on, are a little bit. I'm not telling, of course, about the big brands of retails, no, like we know, but the other companies in the supply chain has a little bit difficult to understand how these technologies can do the difference. And I think that here in the ecosystem, we have this mission also to don't use the big words, but explain in the practice in their business what is the difference that can have it, because the consumer probably will. Sorry, the micro is a little bit. Probably the consumer will look for the business in different way. The competitors will also doing the things in different ways. So I think we all work that we work in this innovation of ecosystem. We need to talk about the big words, but how can apply these big words at the reality and the economy? So I think we have all this mission. Because the power of that, it's a huge, in my opinion, of course, because I'm not a tech person. Probably it's the answer. It's not. I saw Nuno saying that I'm saying something right, but I don't know. I'm not a tech person. Sorry.
Sure. So the ultimate technology is education then.
But we are seeing a very difference, because Nuno from the beginning it's with us in the program. I don't know, from 2019, probably second edition. I don't know. And in the first editions, the big innovation was menus, digital menus, okay? And now we see the use of these technologies, and in the last edition, we had a lot of them use the technology focus in these technologies, but also in sustainability. So I think it's in the last 6 years, we have a lot of improvement, but a lot to do also.
Thank you. Nice. Thank you. So back to André, back to Porto. André, according to Deal Room, food tech is the 6th most invested sector in Europe, at least in Europe, with 4.5 billion euros of investment. You've been dealing with that directly. What kind of trends do you see that are either more promising or also driving more sustainability in the industry?
AI. So, can I just go back to the previous question?
Yeah.
Just to sign in the answer of Marta, that for someone that didn't want the question, just gave a great answer.
Indeed.
Especially on the idea that when you come...
to not answer
Yes,
the question that are making.
No, it was a fantastic answer in the way that it brought a topic and a suggestion to those that are pitching every day, that from there was a moment in the end of 22, beginning of 23, that everything became AI.
Yeah.
Even if it was not tech, AI had to fit there, and it worked as something that was valuable, or it was valued by the other person in the table. Now, in my opinion, it's working negatively.
Okay.
If you don't do what Marta was mentioning, like explaining what kind of AI, what is the technology, is it Gen AI, is it machine learning? Probably we're doing that 5-6 years before, calling it machine learning, calling it an algorithm, and now you just change it to AI. But explain, because the people on the other side are not stupid, and nowadays people are getting exhausted of the idea of AI, because the number of chatbots, the applications that supposedly use AI are so much that what people now look for is, why is it better than the other 1,000 that I have heard of, and why is it changing my life in concrete ways? So that's why I wanted to highlight what Marta said, because it's really important, and it's what we are seeing. We are being impacted every day by AI and blockchain things. Blockchain is also, you mentioned that, and it's in a smaller scale, but it's also
It faded away already. Yeah.
What is the real problem that it is solving? And most of the blockchain startups didn't have a problem that we're solving. It's just blockchain.
Yeah.
AI is not the same way. It's really important. It's really a game changer. But there are so many AI things and technologies nowadays that if you bring a concrete idea and a concrete impact, is much better. Coming back to your question, I can't explain the numbers of the room. I can explain why Sograp is investing time, people, all type of resources in innovation, and even started its own venture capital fund. And I think it may answer and may explain why the rest of the investors are looking to this industry. So most of the industries, or a lot of industries, have been already disrupted. Agriculture, food industry, not so much. The wine sector was not yet disrupted, in our opinion. Maybe it was by a pink drink 8 years ago called Matthews, but we think that there is something more to happen, and so there is opportunity. And it's easy to see the number of startups that come to us every day, and we are present more in Portugal, Spain, a little bit in Europe, but we're not worldwide yet communicated fund, and still we have projects in this area every day. So a lot of startups are coming to this arena. Automatically the investors come too. People, we will need foods, whatever technology we'll have, it's metaverse, blockchain, or AI, food will always be needed. So the market is there. The market won't fade away, but the way we eat and the way we produce what we eat, what we drink, is changing dramatically, and it's accelerating the rate of change. Even all the climate changes, the regulation, the strong regulation that, for example, EU and the US are bringing to the table. And so great projects will arise, great changes and transformations will appear for sure. In our opinion, that's why we put some eyes on this and some work on this side. Well, it would be much easier if we just keep our normal process and keep doing our great wines. That we think maybe not enough in the future, and I think most of the investors are seeing these opportunities.
Got it. So a nice marginal way to increase in terms of technology. Plus everybody eats. You are definitely right.
Drink.
True. So going back to Lisbon again, and now going to the food waste again. So back to you, Pedro. And in this case, not really data. We are going to speak about the money part on that. And Phoenix, for those who do not know, Phoenix allows food waste reduction to be translated into tax benefit. Sorry if I explained it not the proper way.
No, exactly. It's exactly
with basically Phoenix suggested that we are, and not just Phoenix, even the ONU, so UN actually, suggested that we are spending 900 billion euros in food waste that is literally not being consumed. What role do you think that companies and individuals play in ensuring that we are reducing these costs and definitely putting food into those who need, producing it more sustainably, or even optimizing the way we are already producing? What are the main obstacles on that, and what can we do about it?
Okay, this is a huge question, as you may imagine. But okay, so starting from the beginning, just to explain a little bit, we do a lot of things wrong in Portugal, but we have some very interesting things going on. One of the things that we have is that the government gives you tax benefits if all of these retailers, distributors, producers donate their food. So they do a social gesture and they get compensated by that. Of course, there's a lot of money invested in this. So to appeal to the goodwill of everyone that produces or buys food, they can donate it and they have fiscal benefits out of this. This is where Phoenix was born. Phoenix was born in France with this exact concept of trying to link who has surplus food to those who haven't. Yes. It's very, very similar. Like there's a couple of differences, but it's the same business model.
I didn't know.
We also do the B2B with the app, like Too Good To Go. We also do it in Portugal, but it has not enough expression like Too Good To Go. But besides that, we have some very interesting mechanisms that the state proposes to us. They might not be super evident, but if we do a bit of research, we reach those places where we can build from then on. And it's interesting that Marta was speaking about regulations before. This is one of them. There's things that are offered to us by our governments and by our countries that make us be able to do things. In terms of tech, obviously it's very important for Phoenix to be able to know what can we do with this. If we know how much a retailer has of surplus food, we have to understand how much can we donate and what are the benefits that we are going to reap out of donating this food. So of course, this was just to give you a bit of perspective on what we do. The challenges are huge. Obviously, they are being tackled, and that's exciting for us. I lost. Can you please repeat a middle of the question? Because I want to say something about it.
What role do you think that companies have
exactly.
in shifting in?
Thank you, Manuel. So we always hear the story of eat the food that's in your plate, don't serve yourself too much food. And we might not think that that has any impact at home, but it actually does. If we look at society 30 years ago, people would put way too much food on their plate. They would waste way too much food, compared to what we do today. So those little gestures individually, of course, they count. And of course, there's this societal pressure to do what is correct. And I think society will form in that way. Of course, we can do, I don't want to do any moral judgments of how people do their life. It's the same thing as me smoking. I smoke. I'm a person, you know. So we all fight our battles. And there are some people that fight some people that fight others. In this one of fighting food waste, we all should do our part, and that's what we advocate for, but there are bigger monsters to tackle. This is the way I look at it. If we look at governments and companies, that's where the main concern is. We can always do something with the surplus food that maybe we are not doing at the moment. Phoenix and a lot of other companies are here to help with that, but there needs to be regulation, there needs to be more tax benefits for the people that donate, there needs to be technological developments to have tools to track what is donated, what is their surplus food, what is ruined by the people that handle the food, what is robbed in a store. All of this contributes to what we call shrinkage. And shrinkage is the food that the supermarket buys and is not able to sell. There is a lot of data. Same thing in distributors and same thing in producers. If you are able to understand the data of the producers, we are able to solve all of this problem. And the problem is not the surplus of the food, is what we do with the surplus of the food. This is the big question. It's not let's end food surplus. Food surplus is not the same thing as food waste. So if we look at food surplus as a chance and not as a bad thing, because we think like supermarkets buy food to have on their shelves, to have the shelves fully stocked, because otherwise clients don't come in the supermarket. Of course, I would not come in a supermarket that didn't have food. No, none of us would. So the food is going to be there. And we need technological developments in order to know what to do with that food. That's my main take on this. That's the challenge.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. You really inspired on that, actually. Back to Marta. Marta, yeah. So you dealt with these over 100 startups in the past editions. You've seen some succeed and some not succeeding. What do you think that we, general population, can do, so as consumers, to better adopt what attitudes, behaviors can we adopt for these sustainable solutions to thrive and to actually work in the market?
I think, and I saw this evaluation, I think the consumer is more, with more information and more alert for the sustainability part. So they, the persons in general, of course, now pretend that the business has more focus on this sustainability area. So answer for the restaurants to be to have sustainable solutions in the products, more innovation in vegan and so on solutions. So I think we have been a lot of evaluation. All the consumers had more information, pressing more the business for also this evaluation to give information about the process and how the business are running on this sustainability. And I think it's a process, and we are doing this process also. So I think we are all doing the different, but it's related with my question, or my answer to the other question, that we need to help. Like a consumer, we are doing our part, but we that work here in the innovation ecosystem need to help the business, small business, to do this part. But I think we are all doing, and I think it's not necessary to go to, I don't know if I can I say in English, extremes. So I think we need to balance what is the sustainability, that it's not just environment, it's social, but also human. So I think part of that, some of projects are a little bit more extremes, but we need to balance also a little bit this. But it's normal. When we have evaluation, it's normal that in some point we have some of them that are more working on extremes.
Okay, make informed decisions. That I would summarize on that.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think the consumer is all a little bit more with more information. For example, I'm a little bit more oldest than you, but I think that now I have more information and more sensible for this part of sustainability that my father was with my age. And my kids that has 8 and 14 already make me questions about my decisions about consumers that sometimes I would like that they don't talk. Yeah, I think it's a process. I like my kids, okay.
Back to Porto, back to you, Andre. Smart money is considered to be the best choice for startups, and definitely if you are handling with beverages, I would say that Sograp Ventures is the best smart money. But the influence, other kinds of support. Marta, we can hear you.
Sorry.
It is okay. Yeah, so back here. Yeah. What role do investors have in accelerating the adoption that, and what can they provide that effectively supports startups in terms of growing and making the sustainable options the mainstream ones?
So beyond the funding, that is obvious, but there are other options. Some of them probably easier or better than a CVC. What we provide and what we have as a benefit of working with Sograp Ventures, and I think it's quite common among the corporate venture capital, is first of all the opportunity to do pilots and use the company as a test bed for the technology in an early stage. That usually it's hard to find a client or a large company that is able to test our technology. Experience. Sograp has been working with fermentations, for example, for 80 years. We have more than 1,000 hectares of land, and where we use products, technology, machines. So there is a lot of knowledge in different areas, in packaging, whatever, that can be used by free by the startups we work for, either as an investor or as a partner or inside our pilot program. So we provide this not only together with the investment, but the investment always come with this distribution. For example, as Duarte mentioned, it's a startup we worked for, we talked with, and in the end, Sograp Distribuição ended up being the national distributor for funk, which is not common given the size of Sograp Distribuição, which is the largest distributor in Portugal, that works with top tier brands like Jack Daniels that we all know, and saw value in a product like funk, and through the innovation ended up being the national distributor. It's an example. And there is one thing that we don't say it as a perk of working as a CVC, but that we notice with the experience, that is probably the thing that the startups value the most, which is, I would call it an enhancer, a strong enhancer of credibility. So the moment a CVC from the sector you are in invests in you, especially if it is a company, a credible company. I believe Sograp is a company with high credibility in the sector. It's much easier to go find the rest of the funding in the common private equities, banks, even clients that are in the same sector that see that these guys already evaluated. It's kind of, in the personal terms, is those CVs that you worked in top tier consulting firms, and you are
it's the same.
Valid. It's the same, and so we didn't have it in mind. We don't say it as something that to be valued, because it would be shouldn't sound nice, but it's what we feel is that something that startups value and try to always try to say that are working with us, and if it is real, we open that door, because we notice that it helps quite a lot on the future.
Got it. So influence, the brand, everything comes apart. Yep, nice. You mentioned land, which actually connects with my next question. Back to Lisbon. I bring you a lot of data, sorry. According to a recent study from Nova University, Baixo Alentejo, so the lower part of Alentejo, has a 96% chance of being a desert or desertification, meaning that it will not be used to produce food, nor drinks, nor anything, and it will become an environmental, social, economical problem. And I bring this up because I know, Pedro, that you have a personal project around reducing this soil degradation. In a summary, what is it, and how can technology actually tackle this problem? I mean, you're working with Phoenix, it's at the end of the supply chain, but soil, it is the beginning. So how can technology actually help on that?
So basically, I do have a personal project. It's with José. José is here. José is definitely the mastermind behind the whole project. So what we are doing, we are partnering with small landowners, and these small landowners, by not having either the resources, the money, the time to take care of their land, we basically rent their land to be able to produce our crops and better their soil whilst we're there. Because I think everybody knows about erosion. Erosion is after rock, there's nothing, basically. So these lands in Alentejo will never be able to be cultivated again. This also started because me and José are from Alentejo. Alentejo is not only suffering from desertification from agriculture, it's also people desertification. Even our generation or the younger generations that have parents that own land are not doing anything about it for some of the reasons that I've told you before. So we decided to act on it, to go ourselves, cultivate that land with wheat, with ancient wheat. So what we do is try to do a very diverse population of wheat in those fields with maintain year-round the soil covered with a cover crop, and this allows for the soil to regenerate. The main goal being regenerating water systems. So we're doing this. Our aim is to produce wheat in these soils. After this, do flour, and after flour, do bread and other products of flour. Actually, me and Jose had a baby today. Today we baked our first loaf of bread. It was today, and it's we brought one if you guys want to try. It's our first bread loaf ever. It's quite exciting. So we're doing this, and it's going to be interesting to be on the beginning of the supply chain for once, and going wheat, flour, bread, and food waste, and being totally traceable from the moment that we produce to the moment where the product ends. This is our goal. So thank you for asking, Emmanuel, for giving me the spotlight.
Yep. So
regarding tech, that was
exactly
the question, right?
How can tech actually help on that?
Okay. So we have several ways of looking at this. I think the main way is using tech to test the soils before, during, and after the projects. So, and if we facilitate tech on this, the testing will be able to be cheaper, faster, and more available for everyone. I think this is something to tackle because it's an important matter. And the same thing with the crops, the plants, the trees, to be able to test them. I think this most likely where it relies. It's gathering data from soils, knowing what to put in those soil, how that soil behaves, and I believe that's the best way to look at tech there.
Got it. Got it. So the master is telling me we have 5 minutes, and I have questions for you all. But please be a summary, make it a summary. So how can the technology makers, developers, the policy makers, big companies, small companies, the end consumer, how can these how can we collaborate in practical ways to ease the transition into a more sustainable food system? Yeah, it's a hard question for small time, a few times. So who wants to go first?
I can take a topic that has been widely mentioned. I would start with data and being as transparent as possible along the value chain. Transparency and sharing the data and know-how is probably the first step that we need along the value chain is long. The food value chain is quite long. The power is very unbalanced, with production being the weakest link, and usually retailers with more power. And there is a need to go beyond the profit in the goals of to achieve a sustainable future for the whole value chain. But I think we have been doing a quite interesting progress in the last 5 years, and so we are in a good path. I would say we need to accelerate, and data is probably the most tangible ways, data or information, data already managed.
We in the program, we have more 100 mentors in different companies, entities, and so on that work in food area, and we see that a lot of people want to collaborate, that are available to help each other, and so on. And I think it's a very good topic that I saw, and I'm seeing in the program in the last 6 editions. I think also that there are a very amazing projects that different entities are doing, and some of them with the same goals and with not the same mission, but probably the vision. And I think that someone, probably innovation programs, but also these conversations, to put more people together and talk and change experience, because I think Sograp are doing a very good work on that, but I know more Sograps like this that are doing other projects, that probably if there are just say, hey, why do you talk with Andre? Because probably the thing that you are doing, if you join Andre in Sograp, probably you can do better and bigger. So I think we are doing individual in the corporates very good work on that. I think we need to join, and I think in our case in Unicorn Factory we are doing that, creating the hubs, creating these programs, and talk all the stakeholders talking, and try for more corroborated. And I work in the ecosystem. I don't know. I will not say how many years, but some. And I saw in the last years, the corporates, the entities, the different stakeholders are more open to collaborate and to work together. So I think it just, and in my case, my colleague here, Francisco, that's a management hub, is specific in game, but it's our mission. Put the people together, just that. Put the people together and talk and say, hey, I know that you are doing this project. Probably you need to talk with them. So I think we are doing.
I want to pick up what you just said, and I think there's maybe something that should be widely discussed, that is not only speaking about the good things. I think we keep on forgetting about speaking about our problems. This is
people don't want to
yes,
talk
but
about
this is
their own problems.
It's usually like this, because if we communicate our problems, there's somebody that had exactly the same problems and can give us that information or pass us whatever we need, and we can build from then on. If we don't speak, that second step is always way harder, and sometimes we're scared of saying, like, we're building this amazing thing, and we're scared of somebody stealing us or copying the idea or whatever. If we look at this in a more general perspective, it's good that people copy us, not fully, but it always drives progress. always, because somebody else will find a way to do things that we didn't find,
And
then
do
we
it
can,
better, probably.
and then we can do it even better than we did it. So I think this is regarding tech. There's something, a message for all of the developers, that is, make integrations easy. Make integrations easy. This is quite important. Like the vast majority of people dealing with these things are not very tech savvy. If we make the experience easier or explained very well how to, because we can have an amazing platform or an amazing solution, if we don't explain to people how to use them, the first impact with that amazing tool that we've built for them to do amazing things is not going to be good. It's going to be a really bad impact, and people will think, I did my work perfectly before, and I'm not interested in doing it better. Something that's going to make their life easier might be perceived as making their life harder. So this is the message for all the tech developers, is make integrations easy.
And work together.
And work together.
Yeah.
Complain a lot.
That's a perfect way to end it. So summarizing, share your data, be practical, down to earth, and talk with each other so we can make the food tech system more sustainable. Thank you in Lisbon. Thank you in Porto. And I give it back to Startup Portugal.
Thank you, everyone. Stay. Just to wrap this up, thank you, everyone, for being here. It's time for networking and drinking over there. Marilia, do you wrap it up in Porto?
Yes, I will wrap it up here. Thank you, João. It was great to co-host with you. So to end the Hangout today, I will like to thank, as usual, our sponsors. So Investors Portugal, Ferroviário, 351 Portuguese Startup Community, FoodTech, Porto City Council, Sograp, and Superboc Group. So thank you guys. Thank you all in Lisbon. See you next month. No, actually the end of this month. We are in September already. So thank you. Let's have a beer.